Hi everybody and welcome back. Now we get to do the really fun stuff. We get to jump into what one might call, using some more data analysis tools and doing some harder core data analysis. Before we begin with that though, one thing we're going to want to be able to do is, or one approach to sort of start to look at this is we're going to want to build a scatter plot. So when we want to relate two continuous variables to each other, often a scatter plot is the right choice. Here we are again on the Mac. So we're going to choose chart and we're going to choose XY scatter. And let's see, did I manage to get an XY scatter that was in the terms of that I actually want? It looks like it. It looks like I actually managed to get sorties flown on the x-axis, right? Which is my independent variable, and my dependent or response variable, unplanned maintenance actions on the y-axis. This is sort of magical. Such things very rarely happen to me. If I want to do some finagling with this chart now, I might want to put some axis labels. And which are up here in this, we're in the chart design menu, and this works in either a PC or on the Mac. We can add our axis titles on both. It's going to make us label them ourselves. So this one is going to be unplanned maintenance actions, and they're going to be a function of here, sorties. So there you go. Now we can have even more fun adding a chart element. One thing we've talked about adding is sometimes we want a trend line. So usually we want to fit a linear trend line to our data. We can do it that way. Or we can go in here. In the PC version, you can have the other options in here. In the Mac version, we're going to have to format this. So to get it to be something that we can see instead of in the color of the dots, which is really annoying, lovely Excel feature, we're going to come over here in our Format Trendline menu over here on the right. You can get it by clicking on it. If you right-click on it, this menu should pop up, and we have several options. This is from clicking on the trend line itself. We have the fill in line option, the effects option, and the trend line options. We're going to mostly use the fill in line and the trend line options here today. So for color, I talked about colorblind people can't see red, so let's make it orange. I don't know why I'd want it to be dashed. Let's make it solid. That's a good start, right? It really shows you the line as it's filled. So a couple of other choices that you have here. One of the things that we like to do is that we have said we could display the equation on the chart, and that gives you your equation without having to go and do the analysis that we're going to do in just a minute. You can also, if you want to extend this line outside the series so that it looks more like the regression line, this one, it's not the easiest way to go because you kind of have to figure it out. So this one starts at about 100 sorties flown, so we can go backward 100 periods, and that should give us an actual intercept with the y-axis, which is nice to have. It also makes our y-axis, it changes it a little bit and it goes down to -20 now, but that's all right. All right, so those are some choices we have. If you can't read this because you're old and blind like me, you can make it bigger like you would any text, going back to the home screen and making that text a little bigger so you can read it. All right. So one approach, it gets you the equation that you need. And I think we should go ahead and label some of our variables here. Let's just pull this out here and let's take a look at it. So we said y, it's our response variable, and or sometimes called dependent variable. Remember, we aren't assuming anything about causality here, but and in this case, it's UMAs, and that's why those fall on that y-axis. We have our x variable. The coefficient on our x variable is going to be our b sub, I don't know how to do subtext on this one, but let's say b sub 1. There we go, b sub 1. This is going to be the slope. And it's going to be in terms of rise over run, or our UMAs over sorties. Right? So this tells you, right, if you do an extra some number of sorties, how many extra UMAs will you have? Our x here is our independent or explanatory variable, and here it's sorties. And note, it's on the x-axis. E naught here. Oh. Come on, let me do it. There we go. B naught is our intercept. And it's going to be solely in terms of UMAs, because it happens when there are 0 sorties. So it tells us that with 0 sorties, right, there would still be this negative 6.3576 UMAs. All right. Everybody happy with our beautiful graph? I hope. Let's go ahead and take a look at doing this a different way. Right? For practice, we can go ahead and make a similar graph, but we're going to change the data. Instead of having sorties down here, let's make this in terms of our pilot experience rating. And let's go ahead and go use that select data tool. As I told you, half the time when I do this stuff, I end up with the wrong data, and I need to go to the data analysis, the select data tool. It's a handy thing to have. And it's going to let us basically change from C, sorties flown, to B, pilot experience rating. Let's see how it did. Yay! Oh, we don't need to go back 100 periods anymore, so we're going to go and plot this line a little differently. Let's go to our line. We need to go back basically the minimum of the pilot experience rating. So I see over here, let's find the minimum. $11. Okay, so we're going to format this line. We're going to go backwards 11 periods. And that's going to give us our intercept where we want it. This equation's not exactly placed nicely, so let's go ahead and move that up. Right, and so here, as a kind of cheat sheet for you, if in the first model, right, oh, come on. Y is our response variable, it's UMAs. Same thing goes here. X is our independent or explanatory variable. Here, instead of sorties, that's in terms of our pilot experience rating. Here, our slope coefficient is UMAs per unit of the pilot experience rating, our point on the pilot experience rating. And our intercept is still in terms of our UMAs. Right, so the nice simple way to make these plots and to insert a line and make the line intercept the y-axis at 0, label things correctly, make sure your x is on the x-axis, your y is on the y-axis, or else you'll need to go into that chart format and switch those things, making the lines visible. We've done all of those things with this scatter plot.